Hello, Degens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes today on Sunday, August 8th, 2021. I am AJ. As always, this is Noah. Follow me on Twitter at Brofict1, Noah at N Engelbretson. Find us on Spotify and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. And please like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us out. Noah, today is the last day of an event that only happens every 4 years, the Summer Olympics. And the U.S. walks away with the most gold medals, along with the most total medals. The U.S. was 39 gold, total 113, proving that we again are superior in all athletic events. Noah, we're the best. I mean, every 4 years it seems like it's just us proving this. Um, any final thoughts on the Olympics and why we're so awesome at what we do?
Yeah, no, I mean it's great to watch the U.S. win medal after medal, and obviously we have, relative to most countries, a pretty big population, so a bigger
Oh yeah,
pool to pull from. However, there's countries with bigger populations than us. For instance, China, who finished number two, which we
did very good.
still beat them. Got to establish our athletic prowess over them. I will say I mean, we're down a good 10-15% medal wise from Rio.
Yeah.
Maybe that has to do with COVID, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. But it was great to see us, especially coming into the home stretch, being down a gold or two to China, and it doesn't mean the same. Like, the total medals is great, but you want to win in golds too.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know, last night being down one or two coming into the day to the final day, you get women's basketball, you get women's volleyball, probably a couple others that I don't know about, that I wasn't paying enough attention to. But taking that lead and making sure that we got the most golds as well as the most medals, just to reiterate our dominance, was really great.
Oh, absolutely. Our women's indoor volleyball team and basketball team just went off. They were like, yeah, there is no chance we're losing to China in total golds. So go them. Honestly, what they were able to do in those last couple matches were excellent, and really just cemented as you said, our total golds and the victories. Um, I will say though, I do enjoy the Olympics. I like, what it represents. I enjoy the freak athletes that get together to do this every 4 years. But bro, NBC needs to get it together because this was the most miserable viewing of the Olympics I think I've ever had. Honest to God, I would prefer if it was like 25 years ago and I have three channels I have to click through. Like I don't like Peacock is supposed to have everything of the Olympics, but I just caught snippets and stuff and nothing was live. That was a pain in the ass. And I just could never, it was miserable. NBC has another, what, 6 months to figure it out before the Winter Olympics come up. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to settle with this. If I end up missing the U.S. men's curling team because NBC can't get their shit together, I'm gonna boycott the Olympics. I'm gonna be done. That's where I draw the line. I'm over it. What do you think?
I thought they did fine. I don't think I had no problem with like the broadcasting. Um,
Bro, it was awful.
but I mean, probably depends on your TV provider. I've got Xfinity, so it was pretty easy to just you know in the voice thing on the remote, just be like
Okay.
Olympic basketball, and they would pull up all the games. So, given my TV provider, it worked out perfect for me. But um, I will
Okay.
say
It wasn't the TV
it.
provider though, because the app sucked too. Their streaming platform sucked. It was awful. And you can never tell when anything was on, bro. I would have to Google and go on like five different websites to figure out what time an event I wanted to watch was on. Don't get me wrong. It was on at 2 o'clock in the morning and I would end up watching the highlights later. But still, it took me forever to find that information that I wasn't going to be able to watch it. And I think NBC really needs to get it together because, like I said, if I miss our U.S. men's curling team bring home another gold, I I'm gonna be beyond myself, dude. I really don't know how I would handle it.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the main part of the struggle, though, is the time difference.
Yeah, very true.
Where's the Olympics next year, the winter?
Um,
2022.
that's a great question. Let's take a look. Winter Olympics
Yeah, you want to
2022.
look that up real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, they start
Because
Friday, February 4th, so that's good. And it is being hosted
like I
by,
said, we got about
oh,
six
Beijing.
months.
We are going back to Beijing for 2022 Winter Olympics.
Mm,
I mean, so we're going to still kind of have the
so
same issue.
similar to. I mean, it'll be a couple hours better, but
Yeah, not much though,
well,
but
yeah, we might. Well, no, getting some of those main events at 7 or 8 p.m. instead of 11 or midnight. I mean, that
sure.
makes a big difference.
Yeah, I'll give you
Not
that.
quite as much time difference, but. And then we got next Summer Olympics is in Paris, right?
Yeah, Paris for 2024 and then LA for 2028. So that'll be interesting coming back to LA. Really don't know where they're going to put anything. Um, like
Yeah, terrible.
what the hell are they going to do with LA? Just host everything at SoFi Stadium? I mean, you just put a track there, I guess, and call it good. But I really don't know how else that city's going to do.
Man, I tell you though, like the Olympics in general, they're so like crippling, like
Yeah,
money wise. I mean, it depends on the different countries have had different executions of that, but like almost every country loses money when they host the Olympics. I mean, Brazil literally bankrupted themselves
shit.
hosting the Summer Olympics in 2016.
Yeah, Qatar literally had to build, and like so many people died building these stadium for the World Cup coming up next year. I mean, it's unbelievable what these countries will go through in order to host these events. And it really, if they make no money, and they have to know at this point that they really doesn't make them money and it loses them. I mean, watching the Olympics has never really made me say, "Oh, I want to go to this country now." Like this is some good advertising for this country. I'm just kind of like, I mean, yeah, the place is cool and everything, and I might be completely different. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really like traveling like that, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter where it's at. Why don't we just host the Olympics in Athens every year? You know what I mean? Just make it nice, easy, simple, just like the Greeks used to do it, They come in, they do their thing, they get out once every 4 years, we call it good.
You know, that sounds like a great idea actually. If we had a
Right?
globally agreed upon location for the Summer Olympics and then the Winter Olympics
Yeah.
every year, and every country pitched in to build said Olympics village
Oh,
for summer
absolutely.
and winter,
And then think about
then you
this.
wouldn't have to worry about. But on the other hand, like the glory of hosting it,
Mhm.
obviously that's what it's all about. Because all these countries go in knowing they're going to lose money.
Yes.
Obviously, Japan losing way more money on it this year than they normally
Well, they
would
had to
by
push it
not
back a
having
year
any
or two, so
fans
that didn't help.
and not having any fans there. I mean, that's a lot of lost
Yeah.
revenue there. But I know the only Olympics that ever came close to breaking even was the last time it was in LA in like the 70s.
That's depressing.
And
That is
both
very
both
depressing.
summer and winter, like yeah, it's a huge financial burden to host it. But I guess the glory of hosting it outweighs the financial burden for most countries. I don't know.
And I mean, yeah, it makes sense because theoretically speaking, the country can just print the money to make it happen. You know what I mean? So even though logistically speaking, it would probably make more sense to have it in one area every 4 years, and I don't know.
Well,
It's
well,
weird,
that's
but
that's the thing because every time someone's hosting, they build up all these brand new facilities and everything for it. And I think like in Brazil's case, because they had the World Cup and then they had the Olympics 2 years
yeah,
later,
that
so
was
it was like
rough.
World Cup in 14, Olympics in 16. So they built this like $2 billion soccer stadium that they sure as hell couldn't afford, and then like it causes problems. So
Yeah,
I don't know. That would
absolutely.
be
But
not
apparently they
not
have
gonna
this
dive
figured out.
too deep into that. Not gonna dive too deep into that, but we're just out here solving the world's problems farther. It's like they
Hey,
should
we
just
did it
have
with
a
baseball.
centralized.
We're doing it with the Olympics. We're just solving everything, bro. It's
They
just
should
what we
have
do.
they should have a centralized Olympics location
Yeah.
or two, and then go back and forth. I don't know. Like, who cares? Like, I don't care that much other than it being like if I ever wanted to go, then I
But
would
then
love to
even
have it like close.
yeah, but realistically, Noah, would you even want to go? Like, would you really want to go to the
Um,
Olympics? Like, besides, let's take away basketball and baseball. Let's say those tickets are sold out. Volleyball is sold out. Would you go to anything else? Really? I mean, I might go to
yeah, Winter
handball. Might go to
Olympics.
ping pong.
No, 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 no. No, my number one that I want to go to on my bucket list is hockey in the Winter Olympics.
Okay,
So
fair, fair.
so sure as hell. And if it was relatively close distance, like I mean, I'd go to beach volleyball.
Yeah,
That's just exciting.
true. It's electric.
There's a number of things. I mean, I wouldn't go like watch the marathon or like the long distance like biking or the triathlon or anything like that. Because let's be honest, that shit was on TV, and I'm like, oh, this sounds terrible. I caught the end of triathlon one day. It was live. They were 6 hours and 20 minutes deep into this.
Oh my god, how is that good
And
programming?
they were well, they were only covering like the last like 10, 20 minutes of the race, and I understand why.
Yeah,
But the crazy thing is, like, if you went through the NBC Sports app, you could have watched the whole thing. Who the hell is watching 6.5 hours of swimming, biking, and long distance running?
if
There's
I know someone,
no excitement in that.
if I know someone, I'm watching.
There you go.
You know,
There you go. But they're as fun as the Olympics are. There are a ton of very unexciting events.
so that's my thing. I Now, no disrespect to any of the athletes that have ever competed in the Olympics. What you do is incredible, and how you train and everything. That mentality is absolutely incredible. But bro, we got to spice this stuff up. Like, I mean, I would watch javelin if, let's say, we were trying to hit a pig. You know what I mean? That was running around. You had to throw it 100 yards to hit a pig. Or oh, shit, dude. Let's put the let's no 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 the high jump. The high jump set the bar on fire. That just these small little changes makes the Olympics so much more electric and so much more watchable, because I want to be able to watch. I want to get excited, especially if the US isn't competing, because this is a once every 4 years a big event. I want to be watching. I want to be invested no matter what. So yeah, let's set some shit on
Well, and
fire. Let's try killing some animals, and let's go for it. Let's see what these athletes can do. And that's another thing. Juice them up. If they wanna eat all the steroids, bro, let these guys see how far their body can go, and let's see some real world records get broken. I want to see these superheroes do more superhero things, because that's what they are at this point. They're superheroes. They're the best and the best. And yeah, let's go. Let's make the Olympics more exciting and a better viewership experience.
no, I think they are on the right track though. Two of the events they added this year were 3v3 basketball for
That
both
was
men's
good.
and women's,
That was good.
and surfing. This was
Surfing was
the
electric.
first year they had surfing in the Summer Olympics. Now I get the fact that like surfing is kind of location based, so it depends where the Olympics are, whether or not they have good enough waves to do surfing at. But I love the addition of 3v3 basketball. By the way, USA did not even qualify, but that's because we sent our qualification team was like Robbie Hummel and some other washed
Yeah,
up college athletes that never made it to the NBA. So it was, you know, a,
kind of rough.
a weird team.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I hope to see in 3 years. I hope to see the U.S. in addition to our normal basketball team I want to see like a fun team. Like my idea was if I could construct this 3v3 team for this year that totally would have qualified and probably brought home gold. Now obviously there's more than 3 members, but my starting three probably would have been, I'm going young with this. I would have had Ja Morant,
Yes.
Miles Bridges,
Yes.
and then
Trae Young.
my no, 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 no.
Oh, what?
Too small of a lineup. But
Okay.
no,
Okay.
no.
Fair.
So I'd take John Morant, Miles Bridges, and then probably some stretch 4 or 5. Trying to think of a good American like stretch 4 or 5 that I would have put in there.
I think they're not American.
I don't know, but I for sure for sure would have had those two, and oh my god, that would have been so fun to watch too.
Oh yeah.
And those guys being in their younger 20s, I don't think they would like deny the fact or deny the opportunity to like go participate in the Olympics. Like you don't make the act like the like full basketball team, but you get an opportunity to go play 3v3.
3v3. Let's go. Let's go, dude.
Well,
I watched
and
some of that. It was so
you've
great.
seen you've seen Miles Bridges defile people and just put them on posters. Can you imagine? I mean, God, I'm just thinking.
Could
like,
you imagine?
like those two, like John Morant throwing up alley oops to Miles Bridges, just absolutely posterizing people. That would be great.
I think we didn't do that because the world just wasn't ready. They added 3v3. We wanted to let them get acclimated to it a little bit before we kind of get in there and do our thing. But yeah, I'm all for making the Olympics just a little bit more interesting. Let's really highlight what these athletes can do. And if we have to add a little danger to it, I say we might as well. How fast are these sprinters? If they have a javelin, can they beat a javelin if it's coming at them? Like, I mean, how fast are they? Let's see. But no, 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 no. Obviously, but like,
I'm gonna stop.
but like for the shooting events,
Like,
let's put them in a helicopter and let's see how good they can really shoot. You know what I mean? And like,
let's go full Arkansas and have them shooting hogs out of a helicopter.
Here we go.
Nah, I mean, like I have tremendous respect for a lot of the existing
Yes.
events, but
Tremendous.
I think the world is changing so fast. Like sports, the whole world of sports is changing so fast. Like you gotta keep adding new events to the Olympics, and you gotta like remove ones that are outdated. Like
Yeah.
Both winter and summer. And so I think it was really good to see like 3 or 4 total new events that they had in this one in Tokyo. Including, they had what was it? I don't remember all of them, but obviously 3v3 basketball, both on the men's and the women's side. They had surfing, which that's never been in the Olympics. They had kayak racing.
That was awesome.
Which
did you watch that?
I forget her name, but some 19-year-old U.S. girl, like she dominated too. Like she was going crazy.
Oh, they added.
I was like, holy shit.
They added rock climbing too, the speed climbing, the lead, and I forgot what the last one was called. Bouldering. So they added those as well, which was interesting. Very interesting move. But I mean, I think
it's great to see. A lot of new things added, and like I said, the world's just ever changing. So might as well keep up with the times and cycle the events. Get rid of the ones that are outdated and add new ones that people are going to want to watch and be interested in. So
yeah, and I will say I think that is one thing the Olympics are doing very well at. Like you said, adding the new events and everything, but they're adding events that the whole world can participate in. You know what I mean? Like skateboarding, for example, is a board and 4 wheels, and then you can go anywhere. Rock climbing, you just need a wall, dude, or you just need a boulder, and then you're good to go and you can practice. So I think it's really smart of them to develop the sports that are widely adopted by multiple countries at a rapid rate like these ones are. I think drone racing and like esports should stay away because I think that is a completely different set of skills and everything like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes in the next couple of years with Olympics and the updates. With the next Olympics coming in 6 months, are you looking forward to anything? Because I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I'm really looking forward to the U.S. Olympics curling team taking home another gold like they did 4 years ago. It was absolutely electric what those guys can do with a couple squeegees and a rock. Like, wow, electric. I'm looking forward to that. Once I get access to sports betting in Arizona, I'm going to put that future in. Noah, what are you looking at? What are you excited? Like, what events are you excited for? And do you think the U.S. will dominate again?
Hockey, hockey, and hockey, baby.
Hockey. Gotta love it.
That's, I mean, that's the golden ticket with the Winter Olympics. I don't think basketball is on the same level with the Summer Olympics because there's enough other stuff going on. People are focused on other stuff. The Winter Olympics, it just, for some reason, and maybe it's just me growing up in Minnesota and everything, but it just feels like the Winter Olympics is just like the other events are fun,
Mm-hmm.
but it's whoever wins hockey. And it's always a competition between the Canadians, the United States, and the Russians.
The Russians.
And for
ROC,
some
sorry.
reason, that event just seems like it means more than anything else.
Yeah, I would agree. That's the big one. That is
And
the event of the Winter Olympics. I couldn't agree more. And you know
it's
why?
just like,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, it just, I don't know, it has such a huge impact. It just matters so much
Yeah, and
because it's,
but like it's popular and it's the event because there's actual like professionals playing. You know what I mean? Like the NHL takes that time off so these guys can go play in the Olympics. That's why it's so electric. You know what I mean? That's what basketball is
yeah.
starting to do a little bit with a lot of these. Like they've always tried to do that, but it hasn't been on the same level. With how talented these Euros coming over and a lot of these guys from Africa and such, those teams will start to develop, and I think basketball will start to get on that same level. But yeah, hockey, because you have all of these extremely talented professionals playing for their pride, for their country, and you can just see how much it means to them and how much they're actually like invested in it. And that really, I think, helped hockey get over as the sport of the Winter Olympics.
Well, and it's also, more of an international sport than basketball is.
Yeah.
The only the only major sport here in the U.S. that's more international than hockey is baseball, but they don't take a break, as we were talking about like a week ago. It's like if baseball took a break, we could have a really, really fun, really competitive
It'd be awesome.
tournament with baseball in the Olympics. But it's a bunch of minor leaguers playing, so nobody really gives a shit. And like I said, hockey, it's very international. You have a lot of people from Canada, the United States, Russia, a lot of players from Sweden, a lot of players from Finland, Czech Republic. There's a lot of countries that are competitive and have like a lot of guys that play hockey. And I just wish baseball would follow suit because it could be right up there with it. Like Olympic baseball could be fun, but it's just like whatever. Who cares? It's minor league players. Like, I mean, cheer for your country, yeah, but
that can only go so far. You know what I mean? And that's why none of the games were on prime time. I'm pretty sure even our gold medal game wasn't on prime time. You know what I mean? Like, it's
I don't think it was. I don't think it was.
And why? Who would want to watch? Who would want to watch? I don't want to watch. I didn't want to watch. I wouldn't have watched it. Watched it. You know what I mean? Sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody. But we are back. So Noah, we kind of covered everything about the Olympics, how they can get better. Excuse me. Just adding some fire and some danger to the events, along with baseball, sending actual players to play. how the Olympics been better in the winter, what we're excited for. Anything else you want to touch on the Olympics or anything?
Uh, no, just I mean, shout out Team USA. This one
Shout
was
out.
closer than usual, a little bit more narrow than we're used to, but hey, we still went and got the most golds, got the most medals.
Yes, we
We're
did.
the best. It's never going to change.
No,
No,
never.
our athletic prowess over the world will still remain for hopefully forever,
For years and
as
years
long as
and
the Olympics go. I don't know,
absolutely forever and
but
ever. But now that the Olympics are done, we still have baseball going on, NBA's done, NHL's done. Now we can really focus on football season. Here we go. Here we go. Football season, as you said, we are no longer in training camp. We are in preseason. A team that has a preseason game this week. Well, a lot of teams do. But we've been kind of going through all the divisions and everything, and I think we should keep that going. So let's go to, in I think both of our opinions, one of the toughest, if not the toughest division in the NFL, the NFC West, or as I like to say, the NFC Best, because these teams really are stacked. And, you look at all these teams individually, and it's hard not to see any of them go below 500. It's hard to see, not to see any of them making a playoff run. Noah, general thoughts on the NFC West before we really dive in here?
yeah, it's a fun and interesting division. Like you said, it's hard to pick against any of these teams to go below 500. I do think one of them will.
I
Not
completely
one in
disagree.
particular. I just think one will fall under 500, but it's hard, because all of these teams could be playoff teams,
Yeah,
and I think it's the only division in football that I can genuinely say that about. That I think all of these teams have playoff aspirations.
absolutely.
Like I
Yeah,
don't
they're
think
all
there's any other division where all four teams have like playoff aspirations, a decent chance at making the playoffs. However, I don't think all of them will make the playoffs. I do think they have a good chance at sending three teams to the playoffs. So
yeah,
with the expanded wild card format, and this will be a real fun division to watch. It's going to be really competitive. I think they're going to beat up a lot on each other, which is
oh
the
yeah,
only unfortunate thing because I think whoever comes out top dog is going to have an extra loss or two over where they should, just because they're playing such tough division games. But it'll be a real fun one to watch. I'm excited for it.
it really will be. So let's dive into this really fun division. Starting with what I think is going to be the team with the worst, record in the division. That would be the San Francisco 49ers. They have two quarterbacks, so that means they have no quarterbacks. Um, they got Jimmy G and Trey Lance back there with Kyle Shanahan. Odds to win the division, you got plus 185, over under 10 and a half games, over being plus 100, under being minus 120. No, I think Vegas got that line right on the money. Taking a look at their schedule, honest to God, it's not that rough, not that tough at all. You open up with the Lions and Eagles. Yeah, you got to see the Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals back to back, but then, you know, the teams that aren't in the division, they're kind of wins automatically. And like you said, it's going to be a lot of beating up on the division. I do think that it hurts them that they might have a rookie quarterback going in under center. I do think Jimmy G is better than Trey Lance, and I think it would be helpful for him to sit behind Jimmy G, especially because Kyle Shanahan's offense isn't something that you can just pick up and go with it. You know what I mean? That's something you really got to learn and understand. And I think Trey Lance would benefit with that. The rest of the 49ers team is solid. They have a pretty good defense. I'll be interested to see what they can do this season. I know they had a solid season last season, but you never really know. What are your thoughts on the Niners?
I think they're a legitimate threat. That being said, they are the one team in the division that I would give the longest odds to make the playoffs. Now, I don't get me wrong. I think they are very much capable of being an 8 or 9 win team this year. I think they're going to upset some teams. They're probably going to be they're probably my favorite team. If I had to bet money line on on one team for every single game this season, they might be my favorite.
Wow.
Because they're going to be very up and down. So they're going to have these games where they're against a team that's 4, 5, 6 point favorite against them, that they're going to win. Like they're not by any means bad. They're a solid team. Their defense is
absolutely.
If their defense can stay healthy this season, I mean, their defense is good enough to carry them to a playoff spot. So I'm not saying they won't make the playoffs. I'm just saying, out of all 4 teams in this division, I give them the lowest chances at making the playoffs, which is still a decent chance at making the playoffs.
No, yeah,
because like I
absolutely.
said, I'm expecting 3 teams out of this division to make the playoffs. So
yeah.
San Francisco is just my least favorite out of the 4, but I still like them, if that makes any sense. Like,
I think it does. If you had to give me a floor and a ceiling, what are you thinking? Because, like you said, definitely can make playoff push. That defense, as you said, is solid enough. But, like we've been saying, this division is tough. They're going to beat up on each other. What do you think? Floor, ceiling?
Oddly enough, they're not going to have my lowest floor, even though they are my least favorite. I put their floor, I have a small range on this team. I think their floor is about probably 7 and 10. And I think their ceilings, given the question marks on offense and the offensive productivity, I'm putting their ceiling at maybe like 10 and 7, maybe 11 and 6 for their ceiling. But this is a team where I fully expect them to be like right around that 500 mark. I don't see a whole lot of like variability for like what they'll end up doing this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think their actual record would be? You have $100. You got to tell me what their record's going to be. What do you got?
I've got them at 8 and 9.
Wow.
But maybe 9 and 8. I don't know, one of those. I'm pissed about the 17 game schedule, because I would have just put them straight at 8 and 8 normally. But we'll see. They'll be a game above or under 500.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think.
Yeah, I have them going 10 and 7. I do think that they'll win some of those upset games, and I do think that I
was going to say, although with that, the part that goes along with it is, I'm saying 3 and 3 in the division.
3 and 3 in the division. You think they'll split it?
Yeah, despite their 500 record, I do think they're going to go 3 and 3 in the division, 2 and 4 at worst.
That'd be incredible for that division. Breaking 500 in that division would be something else. But yeah, the 49ers, I think, just have a lot of question marks. I think they're a good team. I think they're better than a lot of the other NFL teams out there. Obviously, this is the NFC West, and yeah, 10 and 7, 9 and 8. I can even see they're going to be a good team. Definitely going to make that push. We'll just have to see what that offense can do, and really who their quarterback is, I think, and who can produce the best. So, Noah, after the 49ers...
You did... I was going to say, you did say their over-unders at 10.5, though, right?
Yeah, 10.5 games.
I would take the under.
Take the under?
Yeah.
Under minus 120?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jimmy G's not that great. Trey Lance comes in. I mean, we've seen what the last North Dakota State quarterback did, Carson Wentz, which is what. He's been sidelined with injuries his entire career.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Still dealing with injuries.
So we don't actually know what he's capable of, because he's just been injured his entire fucking career. But this is what I'm saying. Other positions doesn't matter, but you're going to take a non-FBS quarterback. probably not a good decision. So, Trey Lance will be a bust. But
we will see.
you
We
heard
will
it here
see.
first. You heard it here first.
Heard
I
it
just
here.
had to sneak that in, that Trey Lance will be a bust. And as much as I hate Garoppolo, he's the better option at quarterback for them. So
We definitely will see. I don't know about Trey Lance. I do think he's athletic. I don't know if he'll be a bust. I just don't know if he's the best in that Shanahan system. Um, but we'll find out. We'll find out because Jimmy G won't get more than 5 starts, I think, before we see Trey Lance. Because what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, week 6 they have their bye. So I have them going 3-2 in the first 5 weeks, with a win over the Lions and Eagles, but a loss to Packers, Seahawks, and at Cardinals. And so we very much could see Trey Lance against the Colts in week 7. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, I think.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, they still are saying that quarterback battle is open, so we may see him week 1.
Yeah, we'll see how open that really is when we get to week 1. Going to another team who doesn't have a question mark at quarterback, but it seemed like they might at the beginning of offseason. Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, they had a bumpy, not even bumpy, it was just kind of a weird beginning to the offseason. Russ has always been kind of a go Hawks guy, you know what I mean? Always a company man, says yes. Him and Pete Carroll are boys. And now all of a sudden he's saying, my O-line stinks. I hate getting sacked. Get me out of here. Like, that kind of came out of nowhere. Very out of character for Russ. But hey, he got a new O-line. He's got some new weapons, some new toys. Seahawks, how do you think they're going to bear this season? And let's keep in mind, the 12th man will be back. Seattle will have their fans back. And I think that is something that we do need to take into account, not just with the Seahawks, just with every team, because away games are going to be away games again. You know what I mean? It's not going to be these quiet, dubbed over stuff. It's going to be actual fans and everything. So Seattle Seahawks and their team. Noah, what do you think they got?
I just want to quick plug put in there that Seattle stole the name 12th man from Texas A&M.
True.
That's all I'll say about that. I mean, they have a great fan base. I'm not going to argue that, but they stole 12th man from Texas A&M. It's fully stolen. But anyways,
well, hold on.
They're talking about their football team and not the fact that they completely hijacked that.
Okay.
No, I expect them to be good, but not super good, just like they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to have the same problems they had last year. They're going to have no offensive line. Russ is going to be under a lot of pressure. Their defense is going to be probably very mediocre. I think they're a team, until Vegas starts tuning in on it, which they're, for whatever reason, they seem like they're slow on it. So I would go first 5 to 7 weeks, bet the Seahawks over every single week.
The over?
Because I think I think their defense is going to give up a lot of points, but their offense is going to score a lot of points. I mean, that's how they were last year. I think they're going to be the same. I think, I just think Vegas is going to take a while to adjust to that because they seem like they adjust a little bit slower than. Well, I mean, obviously they're set up so that they adjust based on what people are betting, but so I should say people are slower to realize trends, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same Seahawks this year as we saw last year. Just score a lot, high-powered offense, even despite a terrible offensive line. Probably, again, a subpar run game. It's going to be a lot of passing. So if you're playing fantasy football, DK Metcalf, I think, is probably a top 5 fantasy receiver this year.
Easily.
Russ, although, don't draft a quarterback high at all. Never do that.
Never.
But Russ will be decent. But I think DK will be a fantasy stud. And, they're going to throw the ball a lot. They're going to score a lot of points. But they're also going to, their defense is just they haven't been the same since 2016. I don't know. They just, I think you're going to give up a lot of points. So I think their defense will make it hard on them to win games
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're going to be playing the who can score more points game against everybody,
Yeah, they will be. And I
which
think,
I think will
sorry, go ahead.
still lead them to the playoffs. They'll still make the playoffs with that. But
Oh, absolutely.
once you get to the playoffs and you're playing a good defense, you're screwed.
Yeah. Um, they're my third favorite team in the division. The 49ers being my least favorite team in the division. Just a, not biased or whatever thing because I'm a Cardinals fan, but the Seahawks do have a solid team. I do agree with what you're saying about high offense, low defense. You know what I mean? They really couldn't stop the big bad wolf blowing a house down. Like my God, it's unbelievable. DK Metcalf is a better DB than what they have right now. Like it's unbelievable. Um, but yeah, fantasy. Stay away from the Seahawks defense at all costs. If you have to pick them up, I mean, I'm so sorry for that week, but because you're gonna give up, they're gonna give up a lot of points. With that being said, looking at their schedule, the NFC West schedule just seems soft to me. Just up and down.
Yeah.
Every team that I'm looking at, you know what I mean. And I don't know if that's just because how good the teams are and how we've been watching them and everything, or if like that was an actual choice to get more NFC West teams in. But um, I don't know if I went over odds to win the division. The Seahawks are plus 270. They're over under 10 games, and it's minus 110 either side of the over under. Um, Noah, floor ceiling. What are we looking at here? Because this is a team that can score a lot of points, but as you said, a team that can't stop anything to save their life. So what are you thinking?
Yeah. My problem with the Seahawks is they're a few injuries away from being absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
They're, if that makes any sense, they're like very heavily reliant on like a couple players, which makes me nervous. Unlike San Francisco, where I'm like, if they have injuries, they could still be a decent team. Seattle, you have a few key players go down, and they're absolute shit. Which is why I gave San Francisco like a small range. Seattle, I'm going to say their floor. I I don't think they'll be worse than 7-10.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll put their floor. However, this team's weird. I don't know. I'm putting their ceiling at 13-4. I think they could.
You think they can just fall
Yeah,
out?
I mean, if all the gears start clicking correctly, they're a team that can go on and win a bunch of games. I mean, Pete Carroll's done it. Russell Wilson's done it. Like they got the offensive firepower. It The big question mark is that defense. If that defense can if they can be top half of the league, if they can be top 15, then that team can win 13 games.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, I think it does a lot rely on injury and what we're doing there because DK Metcalf gets injured. I don't know who the hell Russell Wilson is throwing to. Any starter on the defense gets injured. I don't know what they're going to do there. That's going to fall apart. Um, so, Noah, you have $100. You have to bet it today. What's the record?
Going with 11-6.
11-6. No, that's actually what I have them at too. 11-6. Looking at their schedule, I think they'll win the games that they're supposed to win. I think the toss-up games will really be 50-50 games. I know they always struggle at home. I mean, I'm sorry, away against the Cardinals. But like we've said, that division is super tough. Um, but yeah, the Seahawks, if they can stay healthy, 11-6, I think is a reasonable record for them. Um, Anything else on the Seahawks?
No, I mean that's all I got. Like, they're gonna do what they do, and they'll be a great home team. Shitty away team probably. I don't know. Unless I think this past season it was complete flip flop, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I expect a high powered offense with a terrible defense. So
definitely. Well, let's move to a high power offense with honestly a very high powered defense as well. The Los Angeles Rams made one of the bigger trades this offseason, sending Goff to Detroit. plus some picks and everything for Matthew Stafford to come down to LA with Sean McVay and the boys. Ooh, that's a scary team, dude. That's a scary team. You look at them offensively, you look at them defensively. Um, they're monstrous. They're monstrous. You got Sam Darnold looking down at the quarterback on one end, and you got Matthew Stafford, who everyone has kind of said is a great quarterback. He's just been in a crappy situation. You know what I mean? No one has ever said Lions suck, Matthew Stafford suck. It's the Lions suck, Matthew Stafford's good.
Aaron Donald, not Sam Darnold.
Aaron Donald, my bad.
Sam Darnold would be our shitty quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. But,
Yes, Aaron Donald. Sorry, number 99. What a beast. Please don't kill me. I'm sorry, I got you guys mixed up. But yeah, this team I think is fully loaded. They have a solid offense. I think Stafford is going to fit right in with that McVay scheme. However, I do have my reserves. I don't think Matt Stafford is going to be that much of an upgrade from Goff. I think that he is overall a better quarterback, but still a quarterback first year in the system, unless your name's Tom Brady, you're not really doing much. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Sean McVay had a run with Goff. They went to the Super Bowl. Just something happened to that relationship where it just deteriorated. And now you got Stafford coming in. With that being said, though, I do think they're the second best team in the division. Their odds to win the division are plus 195, over under 10.5 games, over plus 120, under minus 140. Noah, what are your thoughts on the Rams and the moves they've made, and how do you think they're shaping up this season?
I am fully bought in on the Rams. I bet everything Rams. Bet the house on them to win the division. Bet they're over. You said it's at 10.5. That is the biggest fucking steal. That is the biggest fucking steal you can get.
Oh, come on.
Bet your life savings. I mean, please. Don't hold me responsible.
Please bet responsibly.
Do that. I'm not. I'm not serious. Bet responsibly. Don't bet your life savings on that. But I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, this Rams team is returning a top 5 defense.
Yep.
And you got Matt Stafford coming in. Sean McVay went 2017 or whatever, when 2017-18 when they made the Super Bowl. He balled out in free agency, all this other stuff, trading, and he locked and loaded, and they made the Super Bowl, and they lost 13-3. Their defense was spectacular, but the problem was they could only score 3 points.
Yeah.
He's done the same thing again this year. He's locked and loaded, and the Rams should be the favorite to win the NFC, is all I'm saying.
The favorite to win the NFC, the whole thing.
I am that high on the Rams.
Bro.
I believe.
You're high on something, dude, because there ain't no way they're winning the division. There's no way. Bro, dude, come on. They can't. They won't. Tom Brady's in the division. They're done. End of conversation.
No. He's not in the division. He's in the conference. But
my bad.
The Rams are my pick to win the Super Bowl this year.
Come on, dude. No, they're not. You understand this is being recorded. Other people will hear this. You're not picking them to win the Super Bowl.
I am picking them. They're my favorite.
There's no way. Sean McVay, don't get me wrong. I think he's a good coach. I think what he's brought to the NFL is good. I think that offense is too complicated to learn in 1 year. I don't think that Matt Stafford can pick it up. I think Matt Stafford is a great quarterback. I do not think that he will have the time to develop with his receivers and to develop with his line in order to create a good scheme. I don't think Sean McVay will know what to do with a quarterback like him. He's dealt with guys like Jared Goff who can sit in the pocket and hand the ball off and everything. But Matt Stafford is a gunslinger.
And turn the fucking ball over like none other.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you? how are you telling me you go from a quarterback with a 60% completion percentage and turns the ball over like fucking no other than like Daniel Jones and whoever else, I don't know, to a proven quarterback like Stafford who can like really play the game,
Upgrade, yes.
who's just not had the
Upgrade,
offense
yes.
around him?
Totally upgrade. However, I don't think that wins a Super Bowl. It doesn't win a Super Bowl. Not at all. And especially, bro, great defense. You're right. Top
You
five
just said
defense. They're incredible. But what are they going to do when they get to the NFC divisional game against the Buccaneers? They're going to lose. You know what? We're actually going to see them in week 3 against the Buccaneers take a fat L at home because Tom Brady is just going to carve them up, dude. Buccaneers are winning this. Good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they beat the Bucks last year. Yes.
Yes, but that was a Bucks team that wasn't fully together.
Yes.
As Tom Brady and everyone said, they weren't playing real football until they got to the playoffs. That's when everything started clicking.
Okay.
They didn't have an off season. They had COVID off season. Now they have an actual off season, and they brought back everybody. Dude, the Buccaneers are going to be unstoppable this year, and the Rams aren't going to stop them. That just ain't going to happen. I don't care what year it is, as long as Tom Brady is there, as long as those starters are there, that team is going to be unstoppable, especially now that they have an actual off season.
I just no.
All right.
No.
Whatever. All right. Floor ceiling. What do you got?
Just no.
Floor ceiling. What do you got? Because, yeah. What do you got? Floor ceiling.
I got 11-6 as the floor. I got 14-3 as the ceiling.
14-3. 11-6. I see 11-6.
No,
I see
no,
11
no,
and
no,
6.
no. Sorry. 15-2 is my 15-2 is my ceiling.
15-2? Are you serious? Come on, bro. As their ceiling? All right. What do you think their actual is?
You don't understand how high I am on this Rams team. Like they are built for success.
All right. What do you think their actual record would be? If you have $100 to bet right now, what's their actual record?
13-4.
Wow. 13-4. You know what? We're not much off. Like I said, I do like the team. I think they're the second best in the division. I have them at 12-5. Yeah.
How the hell do you have them at second in the division at 12-5?
Oh, because wait until the next team we're going to talk about. The team that's going to win the division, the underdogs, the one that are the long shot to win. Let's just get right into it. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals at plus 600 to win the division, over under 8 games, which is criminal. Slam that over. There is no way that they don't win more than 8 games. Simple as that. You look at this schedule. This schedule is a joke. Schedule is a joke. They're going to win their first 3 games, 2 of them on the road, and then they're going to win 2 divisional games, and then they got the Browns. That'll be a toss-up. I am so high on this Cardinals team. They had glimpses of greatness last year. Kyler Murray keeps developing as a quarterback year from year, and I think we're going to see that again, especially since we had a full offseason. DeAndre Hopkins, another full offseason. Their chemistry is going to be unstoppable. Larry Fitzgerald, he hasn't announced it yet. He's going to come back. And so we're going to have him on the other side too. And then, I'm sorry. Who else did we sign? We got AJ also there. And so we got 3 receivers. We have an incredible backfield. The Chandler Jones thing, we're going to get that figured out. I ain't even worried about that. He's going to be on the other side of J.J. Watt. You got Budda Baker as one of the best DBs in the league today. Cardinals are going to be an incredible team. I do think they'll win the division. I think they'll go to the playoffs. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl. I think they'll make a playoff run. I think they're winning the division, however. No thoughts. That's all I get.
You do realize y'all are probably losing 4 of your first 6 games.
4 of our first 6 games? Where do you see that? Because you got the Titans, that's a dub. Vikings are a joke. Jaguars are a joke.
Whoa. Let me slow you down. Playing the Titans in Tennessee, that could easily be a loss. I think y'all beat the Vikings at home, beat the Jags, lost to the Rams. Niners is a toss-up. Browns is a tough game. Texans should be an easy win. Then you're playing against the Packers. That could be a loss. You're playing against the Niners in San Francisco. That could be another loss. Like, all I'm saying is this season could easily be derailed in 7 weeks. Like, you could be 3-4 starting your season.
Nah, there's no way.
There's no way. There's no way in hell Arizona wins this division. There's just zero chance. Like, I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear it, but I think they got no shot.
No, I like to think I'm a reasonable guy. You and I have conversations all the time about how bad the Bears are. The Bears suck. We can both agree about that. I'm still a Bears fan to this day, but I can agree that they suck. Watching this division for as long as I have, seeing the Cardinals where they are right now and where everyone else in the division is, I don't see how they don't win this division. I really do see this as their division to lose. I think offensively, they're set up the best to break out. Defensively, they are set. Don't get me wrong. I don't think as good as the Rams defense, but I think adding J.J. Watt, that veteran presence, and also just giving the offensive line someone else to worry about. Because it used to just be Chandler Jones, Budda Baker, and now you got J.J. Watt over here. You got 3 guys coming in from everywhere. You can't stop everyone. We're going to get to the quarterback all the time. Russell Wilson is going to be able to get to know all 3 of them very well when we see them twice this season. But no, looking at the schedule, I don't understand how Vegas came to 8 games. That's a steal. Take that over. Take the plus 600 division odds to the bank and go from there. Floor ceiling, Noah, what do you got for them? Or do you have any other thoughts on how awesome they are and how they're going to win the division? Because they obviously are.
Well, clearly I disagree on that. But I do agree that 8 is a slight. I feel like that's a slight at them. Like I said, I do expect this to be a very competitive division. I think the Cardinals, I think their floor is, I put their floor at 7-10.
Okay.
And I put their ceiling at 11-6. So I think, just like the Niners or the Seahawks, I think all 3 of those teams will be within a game or 2 of each other by the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 are right around or a game or 2 above 500. It's going to be a tough division, and that's part of the problem with being in a tough division is when you lose 3 or 4 division games, even if you're a good team, it makes it harder to make the playoffs. But now we have the expanded playoffs, so I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 teams. Obviously, I expressed how high I am on the Rams. I think they're going to be a top 2 or 3 seed. And then I do think we'll get 2 wild cards out of this division.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I just don't know which 2 those will be. So, hence where my floor and ceiling is.
All right. So $100, bet it today. What's the record?
9-8. That's what I got them at.
9-8. Okay.
If they finish 9-8, that's one of those tricky ones where it may or may not be enough to make a playoff spot.
It really would be, especially with how the NFC is shaping out in general. They're going 13-4. They're winning this thing. Simple as that. I looking at this, and I've looked at this. I've looked at this for so long, multiple different ways. I don't see how they don't win 13 games. I just don't. And yeah, simple as that. 13-4. Going to the playoffs. Not the Super Bowl. They will not make the Super Bowl. They will win the division, go to the playoffs. Just because, and in general, this division is just such a toss-up in general. It really could be any 4 of these teams. Any 4 of these teams can go 13-4. Any of these teams can go, 14-3. It's just going to be kind of, I think, who steps up to do it. And I think the Cardinals are going to be the ones to step up and do it. I think it's their turn. It's their time. The Suns burned out, so the Cardinals could fly.
All right. Well, I'll just tell you I told you so when they're 5 losses in 10, 5 losses 10 weeks into the season.
Well, we'll see about that. We got a couple weeks still. They're playing the Cowboys this week, I believe, on Friday for preseason. So that's always fun to watch. Kind of love watching the Cowboys get the shit kicked out of them. Uh, Noah, anything else you're looking forward to this week coming up or anything like that?
Might finally get to see Jordan Love play in preseason.
Ooh, that's right. When do the Packers
Did
play?
not play at Saturday against
Okay.
the Texans, I want to say. But yeah, because Love played no snaps in preseason last year.
True.
Played no snaps in the regular season. Didn't even suit up in the regular season. So, I mean, it's like this whole mystery on Jordan Love. We've just never even seen him throw a ball since college. So
Yeah.
hopefully he gets a couple drives. A quarter and a half, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll definitely be something to look out for. I really can't wait to see what's going on with the Texans and Deshaun Watson and that whole mess. See what's going on there. It's going to be an interesting week in football as we really dive into the preseason. We will be here to cover it all starting on Tuesday. We will be back. Again, we are AJ and Noah, Degenerate Takes, Degens, keep partying, and we'll be back. Noah, anything for the viewers before we sign off?
Bottoms up, bitches.
Bottoms up, bitches. Have a good week.